from Pixate, and today I'm going to show you a getting started of using Xamarin's MonoDevelop tool with MonoTouch to build C# based iOS applications and styling them with the Pixate Engine. So we'll get started right away by creating a new project. Let's say add new project. In this case, we'll just do a single view application. Let's call this button demo. And then you start by right-clicking on references, and we'll go add a .NET assembly. And in my case, I've just put the Pixate download right on my desktop, and I'll go to frameworks, and we already have a MonoTouch folder in there, and just add the Pixate DLL. I'll double-click that, hit OK. Now Pixate is in my reference. Now go to the app delegate to set things up. Start by basically just doing using Pixate lib. And then you'll want to register your user key and license key in the finished launching method here of your app delegate. So I'll put one in there. Okay. And that's it as far as getting Pixate integrated into a new project with MonoDevelop. So we'll just do a quick sanity check to start that. Okay, it's a blank project as expected. So let's go in and add a couple of buttons. I'll double click the zip file here, which should launch Xcode. Okay. And what we'll do in Xcode is we'll just go ahead and add our two buttons. Let me scroll over there. Okay, we'll add one there. And we'll add a second button here. So for these, we have to add style IDs so we can style them. So you add a user-defined runtime attribute right here, and we'll call this, the first one, style ID. They need to be strings because the value is a name. In this case, we'll just say that's our button 1. The second one here will be our style ID of button 2. By the way, you could use a class in addition to ID or in place of. And you could also actually inline some CSS by using style CSS there. But in our case, for this sample, we're going to do IDs. So we got two IDs, button 1, button 2. I've hit save, and now I'm going to hit quit. So now we're back in MonoDevelop, and as a second sanity check now, we'll run again. We should see the two unstyled, regular iOS buttons. There they are. And now styling them is as easy as adding some CSS. So let's start by adding a new file. In this case, we'll just have an empty file called default.css. So that gets loaded automatically. That specific file name, default.css, will be loaded automatically by the Pixate engine. So now we can just type button 1. That's our first button we want to style. And here we'll do button 2, second button we want to style. And before I add any styling, let's make sure we go check that CSS file and just make sure it's a resource. And in this case, build action, it needs to be content. Then the compiler knows that's a resource that you want bundled in with the project. So in this case, we'll make it real easy. Let's just start by having a background color red, and let's give it a nice little border radius of 10 pixels. That's a little much, but what the heck. And here we'll say background color blue, and we'll give it the same border radius of 10 pixels. I'll hit save, run without debugging. So there you go. Now those two iOS buttons have been styled with red and blue. Now you can do whatever you want at this point. I'll show you, for example, we can put a linear gradient in there instead. Let's go from red to white. So now if we run, now you'll get that. There you go, nice little linear gradient. And then finally, I'll just paste slightly prettier CSS just so you can kind of see what that might look like. Just some slightly fancier stuff. We set the font, letter spacing, the color, the background color, all of that. And so we have two buttons styled differently with different fonts, different font sizes even. And there you go. So be sure to go to pixate.com to learn more, to look at our support site, to look at our FAQ. And if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them there as well. Thank you very much.